today. America's recently brought its age-old love of sports betting out of the shadows and onto our phones. And this has created an all-time mismatch, pitting man against machine. Gamblers, overwhelmingly young men, versus gambling companies armed with sophisticated AI, data, and engineering, enticing fans to make snap bets not just on games, but on every play within games. The early results, billions for gambling companies, leagues, and state governments, and a growing population of sports bettors struggling to defend against the rush.
What is up, peoples? What is up? This is Kermit, your host for Blake 610 Sports and Life. Today we're going to look at something that's been happening more and more in the sports arena. Betting, sports betting. Sports betting, it always occurred, but it was illegal for so much years. And most people did it under the table. Most people had a bookie. So I think the sports people finally said, let's get ahead of everybody. Let's get some of this sports betting money. And I think it's purely because of that. And they saw a way to make money off of it while it was, air quotes, illegal. Now they make it illegal because they went to the Supreme Court, I believe in 2018, and they sanctioned a lot of states that they could bet. See, I'm not a betting man, so I don't really know. I just have a problem with betting. I just don't feel like I could just throw money away like that. Excuse me. But some people do. And a lot more people bet because I think the betting is easier. You don't just bet on teams winning. You bet on like pitching, and you bet on how much touchdown people are going to make in a period of time. So it's has some nuances. So to my knowledge, which is not much, that it is amassed so much more money because there's companies that's just made for you to put in a bid when you want to bet on certain things on teams. So now you don't just watch sports just for the fun of it. You put money down. And then you like hope that what you bet on happens. I don't know if you get a lot of money from it. The average person may not get a lot of money, but it's also could happen to you when you when you're betting. You can get addicted because you get a little win here, and you know you get a little money here. So you like, wow, all right, now I'm gonna bet this next time. Or you are so frustrated that your bet didn't come through because the player didn't hit a certain mark, a certain average, or a certain number in the game.
Isaac Rose Berman. I'm a fellow at the American Institute for Boys and Men, where I focus on gambling policy and research.
Some players and/or coaches either charged with a crime or punished by their league for activities related to sports betting.
In recent years, because in 2018, the Supreme Court gave states the rights to legalize sports betting. And since then, 39 states have done so. And not only has it been legal, but it's been widespread and normalized. You know, if you watch sports, you're going to see tons of sports betting ads and all of these companies, which have now become household names, FanDuel and DraftKings. And so to a degree, the game is much more kind of gamblified than it ever has been. In terms of should people be concerned about the sports they're watching being rigged, I generally don't think so. But there are certain things that have changed. For example, you can now bet on whether the next pitch is going to be a ball or a strike. And so recent cases where MLB pitchers have rigged those individual outcomes, that is upsetting. I think it doesn't necessarily impact the overall game, but it's something to be concerned about. Decade or so, as gambling has expanded and the technological capabilities of these companies and products have advanced as well, you can now bet on everything, not only on, whether a player is going to get a strikeout or a home run, but literally on whether someone is going to get a strike or a ball on the very next pitch, who is going to score the next basket. The majority of bets these days are placed in game. So when games are occurring, which didn't used to be possible decades ago because the technological capabilities to track what was happening in the game and offer those wagers is not possible. And so much of that is because people are now placing on their phones, on their computers. They're not going to a casino. They're not going to a racetrack to place those bets.
Do you guys remember back in the days there was a referee who's so-called was betting on games, Donahue? Now all that stuff is coming back up again because they found a coach, which is Chauncey Billups, betting on certain aspects of the game. He pleaded non-guilty, but nobody knows in detail what is really going on. But he is under investigation for, air quotes, illegal betting. Now, betting has affected a lot of players, especially Pete Rose. Pete Rose didn't get into the Hall of Fame. From my knowledge, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame because he was betting on himself. And to tell you the truth, really, if I was betting, I would bet on myself. I would bet on me doing certain things because I know what I'm going to do. I just don't like the betting aspect of it when you got to depend on somebody else who you don't know or who might get hurt. There's a lot of factors that I couldn't get with. That's another reason why I wouldn't bet. But it is definitely a new entity in sports. I'm not saying that it hasn't been around a long time legally, but now it's been around legally.
Choice.
The U.S. Supreme Court striking down the federal ban on most sports betting, clearing the way for states to legalize it. Writing for the majority, New Jersey native Justice Samuel Alito wrote, Congress can regulate sports gambling directly, but if it elects not to do so, each state is free to act on its own.
And lots of states followed suit. What people don't realize is that it actually wasn't something that happened immediately. One of the real reasons that it became so widespread is because it happened during COVID when there were real budget shortfalls. And legalized gambling, commercialized gambling, is a really easy way for legislators and policymakers to raise tax money without actually taxing people. And so when states were in these budget deficits during COVID and they had all of these lobbyists coming to them saying, hey, if you legalize sports betting, you're going to get tons of tax revenue. You don't even have to tax your citizens. That was really popular. And so that's what made it so widespread around the country.
So I don't understand all aspects of it, and I choose not to. Like I said to you guys, I just can't find myself doing that. It don't make much sense to me. But guys, tell me what you think about this betting. Is it good for the sport or is it bad for the sport? I like for you guys to just think about that and hit me up and let me know what you guys think about that. Peace. And always remember, persistence overcomes resistance. I'm out of here. Peace.